Welcome to another Triathlon podcast, the podcast that brings the electrifying world of triathlons right into your headphones. Journey into captivating conversations, share the excitement of race recaps, enjoy the humor only a triathlete would understand, and join us as we debunk myths and bring you the bare, thrilling truths of the triathlon world. So feel your heart pound, breathe in anticipation, and get ready to dive into the world of triathlon. This is another Triathlon podcast. Enjoy the ride.
Here we are with another Triathlon podcast brought to you by Mana Apparel. We're going to jump in. We've got some race results for you from Challenge Wanaka, and then we're going to jump into our usual social media and what the F moment of the week and kind of catch up on what we've been doing. Hopefully you got a chance to listen to our episode with Bob Babbitt last week. If you haven't already, he is such a historian of the sport. It is such a good one. Definitely go give it a listen. But let's get started with today. How's it going? How is everything with your training life and all the fun stuff? We'll start with you, Josh. What's going on?
Seems like it's a lot's gone on since we last talked. I mean, we had our interview with Bob, so it's been a little bit of an update. But just really now 7 weeks out from Oceanside, and I've got a half marathon a few weeks before that. So a lot of that metabolic fat max training has started to really pay off, and I can start to see it to the point where my coach is like, "Are these even hard enough for you?" And I just had my long ride this weekend was 3.5 hours with 4 20-minute intervals, and she's like, "I think we need to up the watts and or get you retested." So as of earlier today, we've decided to get retested. So I'm going to go get a new DEXA scan and then go to the track tomorrow in the cold temps and get out there and do my protocol and see where we're at and hopefully start really building up in these last. We were going to build anyways, but it's going to really change where my zones are at, hopefully, and really give me an opportunity to get to that PR and get to the A goals of getting close to 5 hours, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sounds like it's working. That's kind of the goal of that endurance work, building that foundation. So going faster and faster at those lower heart rates, and exciting to see that it's actually working. It's one of those things that takes a lot of patience because you don't see the results immediately, and it feels like you're going so slow forever that a lot of people just stop doing it. But if you stick to it, you're definitely seeing the result, getting faster and still keeping aerobic. And really, at the end of the day, especially anything triathlon, it is very much an aerobic endeavor.
It is. And especially now with my swimming is becoming a little bit more aerobic. My anaerobic numbers on my swims are off the chart. So it's like it really balanced out my aerobic bike and aerobic runs that I've been doing. It's like, just go to the pool and get your anaerobic time. And I know it is a lot for a lot of people, but it's been very high. And just recently, by getting in the consistent efforts at the pool 3 days a week, it's starting to pay off. And I've really been able to focus on different techniques and drills and even got a straight 800-yard swim in the other day, which I can't remember the last time I swam 800 straight. It's all been 50, 100, 200 and got 800 in. So really big confidence booster and it's nice. So if you're listening and you're having trouble in the water or any of the disciplines, consistency alone will help pay off.
That's just it. Not the most fun answer, but absolutely the key to endurance sports. How about you, Finis? What's going on in your world? What have you been up to?
No, it's great to hear from Josh and seeing his progress. I'm sure his coach is really excited about his Oceanside race coming up. So am I. I'm really looking forward in seeing what he can do. And for me, it's been a little bit of the same. We've been testing a lot. I did a power profile on a bike. So for our listeners, a power profile is you get a whole different of tests from sprinting to like a 4-minute all out to like a 20-minute all out, and that is going to give you your metabolic profile when it comes to what are you suited better for, whether if it's a TT cyclist or a climber or a sprinter. So and I joked with my coach. I was like, "Hey, bro, triathletes, we cannot sprint. I mean, I had a 20-second I had a 20-second sprint, and I was I was dying, and I think I was like 820 something watts. And yeah, no, not happening. Oh, I mean, I'm a fairly light guy. I'm 136 pounds, so that's decent. But yeah, cyclists are at a completely different level. But yeah, just been chipping away and building towards my next goal, which is Ironman Texas in April with the crew. So been doing a lot of endurance work other than the power profile testing, and yeah, just enjoying going back to the long grinding type of work that you love, Jenna. I know you love this type of training. I'm a bit more of a threshold tempo type of guy, but yeah, no, this is good. This is good. What about you?
That's awesome. Sounds like things are on track and getting ready to go for Texas. We're gonna have a bunch of Mana members out there, I think. It's gonna be a good
Yeah,
crew.
yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
And you'll get a first person view of the pro race going down there, and it should be quite the battle over there as they start to get rolling with the Ironman Pro Series.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. It's going to be an exciting race. And now that, I don't know if you guys saw, but Magnus Ditlev, he raced Texas last year. I don't know if he's going to be there this year, but he just posted this video in collaboration with Sweat Elite. And
Yeah.
man, he is fit as a fiddle right now. I think he's one of the favorites for the T100 in Miami.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe it's a little bit of mind games out there, putting out some crazy numbers and some good stats and
Could
kind of
be.
get a little on the back foot as they go into race towards the race.
Yeah. Might as well be. Yeah.
They were all getting tired of retired Jan showing them up.
Right.
I tell you, it seems like though that the level of training has certainly stepped it up, or at least people putting stuff out there. Now that you've got this whole T100 series and the Ironman series, and like these T100 athletes are like just going hard at their training, and they're prepping for Miami and a long season. And this is the other thing. This is a long season. They've got to do a certain amount of races. They can't just do two, qualify and chill and wait for Worlds. They have to do 5 races plus the grand finale, right? So that's a lot of work you got to get your body ready for.
Yeah, you know what? I think we're going to see more injuries than ever this year. Just the level being so high, being so competitive. The long distance athletes aren't used to racing each other week after week after week. It's going to be just, I think, a mental and physical test that a lot of them haven't dealt with. Some of them came from the Olympics, or from the Olympic distance, so they'll know what that's like. But there's a few long distance names that have never been in that environment, have never had to race so many times at such a high level. That I can imagine that would just mess with your head, just the same people week in, week out. If you have a good result, a bad one, that'd be a challenge.
Yeah, and now you get the marketing campaigns, the marketing campaigns that some of them are doing to get in as the alternates now too.
Right?
Like I've seen Dubrick and a few others starting to like campaign for themselves.
Man, it's going to be so interesting to see. I heard for the first race, they've got like 11 wildcard slots that they have to fill out there. Just, of course, like the Olympic athletes, they're not going to be doing the first few in there. They're going to focus on the Olympics. But sounds like there's a few slots up for grabs on the men's and women's side for that first one, which will be interesting to see how it changes up the dynamics.
Yeah, for sure. So how's your training been going, Jen? I know you've coming out of Texas and coming back, and it looks like on your Instagram you're crushing it. So how's it going?
It's pretty good. It's been a little up and down. The week I was over in Texas doing the Mana apparel testing, that was definitely the priority. So didn't get much for training there with the torrential downpours that were happening. And then had a massive week after that, and unfortunately got sick the week after that. So it's been a bit up and down, but this last week was pretty solid. And I have started my panic heat training that I should have started well over a week ago. If you guys don't know, we've got the Mana camp coming up next week, which I'm super stoked for. But it's in Costa Rica, and I was looking at the temperatures, and it's like 30 degrees plus or 90 degrees.
Yes.
Plus. It's slightly hotter than here, just slightly.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely should have started the heat prep earlier. But we'll jump into some panic heat training every single day until I leave for camp and see how that
Nice.
goes. Speaking of testing, I just did a run. I've been seeing kind of the same thing. I'm still very much in an aerobic focus with some like touches into speed now, starting to go into more of the faster work. So I wanted to get an idea of where I was at. And I am either ridiculously crazy fit or something's wrong with my lactate meter because the readings I was getting were just crazy low. So ordering up some new lactate strips and a new control solution because, yeah, I'm getting fitter, but I'm not under one lactate fit for paces that I have never run. So it was, unfortunately, the testing protocol has to be right and the equipment has to be right for it to mean anything.
I was wondering about that. That was like superhuman numbers right there. Like,
Yeah.
how fast were you actually running? Because that
something's not quite right there. I like went from 1.3 to 1 to 0.7 at like what should be a high end zone too. So not like a hard effort, but I was like, okay, that doesn't quite look right. So I'm gonna order up some new strips and a different testing solution to hopefully get some better numbers. But I think I have to go back into the lab and have someone else do it. It is hard to do lactate testing on yourself because you're so sweaty and like trying to get everything going. It is definitely a challenging endeavor. So I think I'm going to go back to the lab I last had the lactate testing done, just so it's, same equipment, same tester and stuff, just to get some updated numbers and see, hopefully I've made some progress, gotten a little faster, a little less of a ultra runner pace than I was before, but definitely feels like things are changing. So at least it feels like I'm getting fitter. So I'm just going to go with that.
At the end of the day, that's what matters, right? Your level of confidence in what your speed and your endurance is what it comes down to. It's nice to know what you should be able to do, though, at the same time.
Totally. No, that's 90% of it. I think that's why I hate testing so much. My coach knows more often than not, I will skip a threshold test, which is something, do as I say, not as I do for my athletes. But it's like, if I believe I'm getting fitter, I run off confidence hugely. So I can go destroy myself on a race course if I think I'm fit. Where if those doubts come on, that's not as much fun. So I'm like, I don't want the test to tell me I'm not getting fitter because that just messes with my head. So let's just go smash myself on the race course, see what happens.
I had one of the 3 athletes that I'm working with right now do a ramp test today instead of the 20-minute FTP, and she was like totally ecstatic for it and excited and thought her zones were going up and same numbers as they were before. And it's like, and they should be better. It's just that's one of those things like maybe you weren't completely ready to test that day. You weren't in the right mindset, but part of that test is that mental aspect of it too. So I do want her to test again. She is going to test again and do the regular 20-minute protocol and go back to what she's used to doing, because you can see when she's riding in certain zones, it's too easy. It shouldn't be as easy as it is. But yeah, it's testing is not for everyone, but at the same time, it does help the rest of it.
So much comes into play: nutrition, like hydration, like you said, mindset, but especially for women, like you can look at a 10% difference depending on the part of the cycle they're in. So it's one of those things where there are definitely a lot of other factors out there, but good that you're actually seeing the difference in the training data. And I think that's one of the benefits to having a coach, just being able to see day by day, things getting better, they not getting better, and someone who can have that outside perspective and keep adjusting for it.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, let's roll into the world of pro sports. They're slightly faster than the 3 of us. So let's chat about what happened this weekend. Fede, what was going on in the pro world?
Yeah, just slightly faster, not too much, just a little bit. Yeah. So we had over the weekend Challenge Wanaka, which is held in Wanaka, New Zealand. For those of you who have the chance, you need to do this race. This is probably my favorite race in the entire world. It's amazing. It's tough. The bike is challenging. The run is usually off track, and you run up and down and up and down. So it's a pretty cool race. It's a pretty cool race to do. And this weekend we had another iteration of the race, and on the men's side we had defending champion Jack Moody. We had the likes of Kyle Smith coming back from a bit of an illness, Mike Phillips, a bunch of guys. And on the men's side, Kyle took the win in 3:53. Then Mike Phillips 3:58, and then Jack Moody rounding up the podium in 4 hours flat. On the women's side, we had from the Netherlands, Els Visser taking the win in 4:34. I mean, these times, they just go to show how tough this race is, because we are looking at Kyle at 3:53 and then Els 4:34. These aren't quick times, but just shows the tough course that Challenge Wanaka is. On second place, we had from New Zealand, Rebecca Clark in 4:43. And in third place, Laura Siddle from Great Britain in 4:44. That was a race that happened over the weekend. It was, a beautiful race. Conditions were pretty cool, and no major drama. The favorites took the victory over there.
Oh, awesome. Sounds like it's some good racing over there. I definitely need to go check out some of those classic races that you hear about all the time. It sounds absolutely beautiful and punishing and difficult. I love those hard courses where it makes it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah. I mean, not every race needs to be a PR, right? You have to race some races just for the challenge. I don't see people racing the Norseman thinking they're gonna go sub 7 or like sub 8. And the winner is not disappointed when he finishes in 8:30 something, because you cannot go that fast in some courses.
Oh, totally. Yeah, that's one thing I haven't chased too much is those fast times. And it seems like there's a shift in the triathlon world where everyone just wanted to get those PRs, the fast courses, and Latin fast is the thing, which we see, especially with the races throughout the fall in the US. Everything's just kind of flat. It is so much more fun just to challenge yourself and not know what time to expect, it's more gauge it on effort, and it's you against you and seeing how hard you can actually go. I think is a lot more fun than just saying, okay, this flat and fast, if I put out this many watts, I should get about this pace, and it's calculated, right?
Yeah, stop chasing time and just go do your best, and then time will come.
Totally.
And here I am going back to Oceanside so I can just go after the time I had last year.
I mean, but Oceanside is a pretty challenging course to go like sub 5. I mean, you're not picking like, I don't know, what is it, Challenge Daytona or like a course like that to break, to go sub 5. So yeah, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. There's room to improve. We'll find some spots here and there. 5 would be nice. I know I'm going to beat last year. I just got to get through the swim, and we've already done the training for that.
Yeah, you might be getting a fancy wetsuit for that.
We got to make sure that shows up on time. So we got enough custom Team Mana DeBoer wetsuits are ordered. Anyone open to the public can still grab them for the next 2 days, I think.
Yeah.
So they're sweet. They're fast, and I'm excited. There's a whole bunch of us in Oceanside. They're going to be sporting them. There's going to be a few people in Galveston the day after with them. So, and then throughout the year, you'll see Team On out there. I don't know, at the front of the pack for the swim, not for me, but I'll be swimming faster than I was last year. That's for sure. And training plus the technology is definitely going to help pay off and get me onto the bike with a lot more watts left to go.
That's the way to go. Yeah, they look pretty wicked too. So if you guys haven't heard or seen our social media, we're doing custom Mana DeBauer collaboration wetsuits. So they look pretty sweet out there. Like Josh mentioned, the 21st is the last day to get them. So hopefully you hear this right away. If you want to get one, check it out. Message any of us on social media and we can send you over that link. But it'll be so much fun just to see the teammates out there all rocking the same. So you'll be able to pick us out of a crowd. I think we're going to have about 40 people with them out on all over the world. So pretty stoked for that.
We'll have to have a team shakeout swim for sure.
Totally. I know I'm still having so much FOMO. I want to go over to Oceanside just to cheer and say hi to everyone. So I'm going to see if I can make that happen because everyone is going to be over there. And I just want to watch that pro race go down. It's going to be so good. It is going to be absolutely stacked.
It's a fun weekend. I mean, after being there last year and experiencing it, I think it'll be a little different this year with the T100 and some of the athletes not being there, but it's still going to be pretty packed and stacked. And it's such a big race for everyone just in terms of setting the barometer for their season and getting 2024 kicked off for most people. So just a really cool vibe. And it's such a cool town to be in. It's like literally meant for triathlon. And like you can just kind of chill all weekend and go have fun. So hope you can make it.
Yeah, I like some of those smaller locations for it because it's just kind of like triathlon takes over. Like you see triathletes everywhere.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you have these events in bigger cities, it's great because there's more accommodation options and easier to get around to. But you're so spread out, you don't have that feel like Kona Race Week. Like everyone is right there, so you get sucked into the whole atmosphere, which is a lot of fun.
Exactly. And they've got a cool bike trail that's right there. So like you do your shakeout run right there on the water, but then the bike trail takes you out and you're just on a bike trail. You're not on the city roads or streets and unfamiliar territory. Like you can go on a bike path anywhere. It doesn't matter if you've been there before or not. Just really, really neat atmosphere and excited to see Bob, who we just interviewed. So he'll be around. It's his hometown area. So it'll be it's gonna be a nice race. It'll be interesting to see what pros do show up. I think there's some that we're not sure of yet, and see who actually hits the start line because a lot of the winners and podium people from last year are probably not going to be there.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Well, let's move on here to our What the F. Unfortunately, we're going to have to take the energy down a little bit with some sad news here, but promise we'll bring it up with some of the fun stuff going on in the social media world. But I'm sure most people have heard out there, and we are so sad here as well that Calvin Kiptum, who was the world record marathon, or who set a world record marathon time this past October at the Chicago Marathon, and was actually expected to contend for the gold at this summer's Olympics, unfortunately died on Sunday in a car crash in his home country of Kenya after his car veered off the road and into a ditch, which heartbreaking to see. He was 24 years old. He had run 3 of the fastest 7 marathon times ever recorded, including his 2 hours and 35 seconds in Chicago. And it is so sad to see something like that, someone who had so much potential and talent to have their life end so early. That's so young. But I know it's really, really sad to hear that, and I've seen it all over. Did you guys have any thoughts on that?
He had so much left. That's the thing that like hits you, and it really definitely went around our I guess spectrum of people that we follow and people that we communicate with, and our network of endurance sports. No matter what, triathlete, runner, cyclist, it just hits home when somebody that young and their coach have their lives taken from them that quickly and so early on in their careers and what they were capable of doing and pushing their body and their limits to. And it was really neat this weekend. I saw a lot of people I know going out and doing 2-hour and 35-second runs. And really cool tributes that you saw a lot of people doing something around that time frame. And then you hear from all the people that like what it meant to them to be in that race in Chicago, even whether they saw him or not, just to know that they were at that race and did that race in his last like crazy record-setting moment, and what it meant to a lot of people. And totally sad for sure, and awful to hear. And I think it's gonna really impact the running world and maybe bring out the best in some others too to step up in his footsteps that are no longer going to be leading the way.
I know he inspired a lot of people for sure, and getting so close to that 2-hour record, you got to imagine that he would have been, right there very soon. So it's a tragedy for sure. Well, Betty, did you have any thoughts on that?
No, it's very sad to, when I heard the news and when I read it, somebody so young and with a lot of talent. The question is that his father has filed an investigation because he reckons it wasn't an accident. So, this is all speculation now, but we're going to have to wait and see. on the reports if this was actually something or somebody intended to do that, or just a very sad accident. But yeah, our thoughts with the family, and just goes to show how fragile life is. One day you're on top of the world, and then it can get taken away from you in like in a blink of an eye. So just very sad, and just puts things into perspective into what's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on that sad note, let's try to bring things up a little bit, go into the silly stuff going on in the social media world, because in triathlon, there always is some silly looking equipment or fun stuff or random challenges. So, Josh, tell us all about it. What's going on in the social media world? What should we keep an eye out for?
Well, I think everyone at this point has probably seen, I'm going to change it up a little bit, but everyone's probably seen some of the 100-yard kick challenges going on with the TTL crowd, and now it's just kind of exploded through. And all I wanted to bring up there was how crazy some of these times are. I mean, these people are dropping 102s, 106s, 110s, 115s with a kickboard and no fins. I mean, that's just nuts, especially for the three of us who struggle in the swim a little bit compared to the rest of you. But I did just see, and it's a couple of weeks old, but Triathlon Daily News, and it just brings up a cool little subject, and maybe people can chime in with some of their own stories. But finish line debacles where you're there, you're on the carpet, you're ready to finish, and they have this reel up of this guy finishing, and he goes to jump and celebrate, and comes down and rolls his ankle like a basketball player, and it's just not pretty. But the whole time, this man has been he's done an Ironman, and he's got a smile on his face as he like kind of rolls over the finish line because he was a little short even. So, what is your best or worst finish line story? Does anyone else have anything out there like it that they don't want to have on camera? Love to hear that.
It was funny. There's one Mackie used to always talk about that he's used an example now for Australian triathlon development teams and stuff. He was in the running, I think he was in like second place or something like that. And coming down the finish chute, he thought he had a big lead in there. So was waving and chatting with people in the crowd and hamming it up, and went from second to fourth because two people he thought were a lap behind were not. Oh. Passed down the finish chute as he's hamming it up. So that was a lesson and a story that has been told many times to many up-and-coming Australian triathletes.
No.
And that's so true with the finish line chutes often are at the end of a lap, or you turn to the right and keep going and run that next lap, and you don't know, are they with you or not? And if you don't have good information, they're coming left with you down the carpet.
Oh man, could you imagine? That would just be brutal too. So yeah, the Federation wasn't too happy with him on that one.
I'd say my lesson was definitely stay ahead of your hydration and any of your muscle cramping, because by the time you get to the red carpet, if you try and do anything different other than just run straight, it can come back to haunt you. And I've definitely seen some crazy cramping and stretching on the carpet with people celebrating as well too. So how about you, Fetty? Have you had any close calls?
Not like that. Not that I can think of, but yeah, I've heard crazy stories of already celebrating, and then the guy comes sprinting behind you, and then trembling and tripping and falling before the finish line. But no, fortunately, finish lines have been very good to me. So no, I don't have a story like that.
I had a close call one time with the long distance world champs. It was it was in like fourth place, halfway at the last 10K of the run. Had to run faster than I ever had before, and finally catch the person who's in first. And they hand you, it was in Canada, so they hand you a Canadian flag as you're running down the finish line. And I knew that I was in first place. I was about to win the world champs. So I grabbed the flag and I go to put it above my head. And you're supposed to run down the finish line with holding the flag above your head. That was so incredibly painful and awkward. I almost fell down a couple times. One of the finish line pictures, it looks like I'm halfway through falling, but managed to catch myself, cross the finish line, collapsed in my whole body cramped up in the most painful way. I was just like, oh what did I just do? But you're exactly right. Just a change of position, changing up anything at that point when your body is just destroyed at the end of a race, you're calling for some painful cramps there. But didn't make that, just fell over after the finish line. So luckily the finish line wasn't like 10 meters down the road, or else I would have been screwed.
There's some definite stories from the shoot for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, if you can run and jump across the finish line and feel okay, then you probably had a little bit left in you for race day.
That is true. Learn how to finish. Oh, you have nothing left.
Yeah,
totally.
Don't be, the type of athlete who has been running the entire race and all of a sudden, as soon as they see the finish shoot, they sprint like Usain Bolt. Just don't.
Oh man, that's the funny part. I don't think a race is satisfying unless I've left everything out there and just feel destroyed at the end. I've won races where I'm like, well, I had more left to give. That it just doesn't. I don't know. Maybe we're a bit of masochists in the endurance world, but it's just not quite satisfying unless you're in a lot of pain and destroyed at the finish. I don't know about you guys.
I mean, yes, I my goal is to absolutely epically wreck it at the end. And I think then there becomes, if you're in your own personal world, which I try and stick to, I mean, it's your own personal goal. If it's a day you didn't have the day you wanted early on, maybe I'm not killing myself on the run and getting there. But if I'm having the day on the swim and the day on the bike, then the run is going to hurt. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, leave it all out there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, there's not a ton going on in the triathlon world right now, but we are headed towards what is going to be an absolutely insane season of racing in the pro world. I think the next big race coming up is going to be the WTCS will kick off again. So I'm excited to see who's in form, where everyone's at in Abu Dhabi on March 8th and 9th. But after that, we're going to roll right into the T100 and the Ironman Pro Series and finish off the year with a bit of newly named Super Tri that Super League Triathlon is transitioning to. So we will take advantage of a little bit of quiet time now, but there's definitely going to be lots to talk about in the future here. So send in some questions. If you have any questions on training, racing, whatever in the triathlon world, we're happy to chat about it. But was there anything else you guys had on your mind in the triathlon world?
I think, at this point of our trainings and our seasons, I think one quick thing to touch on is how are you guys working with your athletes on some of the race day preps too? Because we're so focused on here's your training schedule for the week, here's your training schedule for the day. But what are some of the other things that you work on your athletes on that isn't just swim, bike, run? And how do you approach that with the different athletes? Because I know it's important. There's so many more disciplines than just the three that we talk about. And at this point of the season, are you starting to work with your athletes on that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much more that goes into it. And I find it's still a little early until people can get outside and stuff. But one of the big things I make sure athletes are prepared with is nutrition for race day. Obviously, it's something I say to them all the time. You can be the fittest you've ever been in your life. If you're puking on the side of the road or completely bonked, it just does not matter. So right now, athletes are kind of testing out some nutrition to see what works for them. But as we get more outdoor time, start to get into some of those long brick workouts, something that I have a lot of athletes work on is testing out nutrition to make sure they have the energy on long bike rides, with some runs afterwards to test out to see if the stomach liked what they took on their long rides and the amount that they took on those long rides, just to make sure they have that dialed in. So it's early phases with that. And then, well, at least with the athletes that I coach who are racing later in the summer. But if you are doing something like Oceanside or Texas, then that would be something that they'd be working on at this time too.
Yeah. That's a great question. And for me, adding on what Jenna said, for my athletes, I make sure that this time of the year they do a lot of meditation work and just a lot of introspection. I ask them a lot of questions like, how do you feel after this session? Because it's early on in the year and goals might seem a bit too far off, but it's a good time to get the priorities straight and to know your why and why you're doing this. do you just want to qualify for Worlds, or why is the reasoning behind that? And just making sure that their mind is at the right place, because when the mind is at the right frame, then the body can execute properly. And it's a long season, and I don't want my athletes to get burned out. So that's what I do with them.
That's a really cool approach. I like that. It's something that I definitely want to start incorporating a little bit more into mine. I mean, I kind of have my goals, but at the same time, thinking about a little more deeper. And I have the opportunity to do that because one piece of training that I've been doing is and this goes along with one of the group chats that we had over the weekend, was music and playlists and things like that. I've been doing everything without music, without sound, without anything. And I might have like a basketball game on in the background, but no sound. And it's just me and the treadmill and the sound and me in the long ride, and maybe the noise of a bird flying through Zwift, and that's about it. So a lot of people are, especially new triathletes, it's something I would highly recommend, because you're coming from a running sport or another sport that maybe you would use music, and you get into Ironman and you get into triathlon, there's no earbuds on that run, and definitely not on the bike. So get used to it and get used to hearing yourself breathe.
Yeah, I hate the sound of myself breathing. It's a great tip and definitely great advice. One of those things that, once again, I'll say, tell my athletes to do, and don't do what I do. No, it's good to be able to get in that headspace. And another thing that I really have athletes work on is a few sessions where you really listen to what's going on in your head during the hard work. Because I think sometimes it's easy enough to distract from that and kind of push it away. And figuring out how you're going to deal with your headspace when things get hard before race day is so important, because race day, it's too late. You better know how you're going to react when those negative thoughts come up, because at some point it's going to get hard. At some point it's going to suck. Your head's going to tell you want to slow down. So figuring out what you're going to do when that happens is absolutely key. And I find some sessions like fast finish long runs are a really, really good way to do that. Kind of first figure out where your head goes when it gets hard, understand what you're saying during those moments, and then coming up with some techniques to deal with it in the moments that you don't. If you're fighting against your body, tensing up when it does get hard, or just digging yourself into a negative headspace, that is not going to be good for your pace or for anything else in there. So a couple of things I actually have athletes work on that I really like is a tip that I got from a pro triathlete years ago that I've used in every single race is counting. So it uses two different parts of your brain. You can't count at the same time as you have an internal dialogue. You got one or the other. So sometimes one of the best things you can do when you are starting to suffer, if you start to have those negative voices come into your head, is just count your steps or count your pedal strokes or your swim strokes. Just anything that helps you kind of relax, not go deeper into that negative headspace, and fall more into a rhythm and feel what your body is actually doing. So that's one of my top tips for when things start to get hard out there.
I would agree.
That's really good.
I've been counting doing a lot of stroke counting in general on my swim workouts, just to figure out how efficient I am getting as well. And it definitely helps calm down the breathing, and you start to focus on the efficiency of your swim stroke. So like you said, during a race, if something like that comes up and you've trained for it, your body starts to react for it a little bit better too. So, I mean, anything can happen in an Ironman, half Ironman, triathlon swim that you're not used to training with in a pool in open water with nobody else around. Come race day, you've got a squad of people dousing and thrashing, and you never know. So it's definitely something to get yourself used to. Counting is a big one. I would agree. It's helped me as a newer triathlete for sure, and a lot of different things. Even, I mean, on the run is where you really start to get in your head.
Yeah.
You can get out there by yourself if you have no one else around. The bike, you tend to find some other people and have a lot of stuff going on that you got to pay attention to. But the run, you can get lonely.
And number one, when your headspace starts to go negative, step number one, carbs.
Yep.
In time. That'll help.
Eat.
Yes.
Eat.
That's first.
But there was one other cool thing and this just came about in the last week or so, but one of the things that we're doing with Mana this year too, that people might not be aware of, is we've got some regional captains approach. So I'm one of our regional captains for the Northeast, and Matt Kratos as well here in Massachusetts. We're coming up with our first community activation event.
Awesome.
So if you are going to be in town for the Boston Marathon and around Saturday morning, we've got a cool partnership that we're going to be announcing with a brand new facility, opening up some really cool testing capabilities in the area. And we want to make sure if you're around that you'll be able to join us. And we should have a bunch of giveaways, some demos stuff to do, and some trying out some testing equipment, and just a cool, fun little shakeout run marathon weekend type activation.
That's awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely send out details on that when it's all announced and put out there. 'Cause you know what? It's never more fun than when you're suffering with others. Get a sense of that community, get out there. And, just being around people who get it, I find often can be the biggest motivator. Because, sometimes when you talk to your friends and family about triathlon and the things you're doing in endurance sports, they think you're slightly insane. So it's always fun to get together with some like-minded individuals, and prizes and giveaways never hurt with that either.
Yeah. It was a really cool call. Like you said, it was like we had this half-hour Teams call today, and the next thing you know, it's like an hour, and we're all just shooting the shit, talking triathlon and geeking out.
Yeah.
Wait, let's get back to the community event.
That is wicked. Oh, excited to see how that goes for you guys there. Once it all comes together, that'll be so much fun.
Yeah. Excited for that, and it's open to anyone running triathlon. It's just kind of really to get a community of people together, but obviously we're there to answer any questions you have about what we do with Mana and triathlon in general. Wicked.
Love to hear it. And, if you want a last minute getaway to somewhere warm, come join us at the Mana Camp on the 28th. A little last minute, who knows? Come enjoy some sunshine, a little bit of suffering, and it is going to be a blast. I can't wait to get over there.
Well, you guys have an awesome time in Costa Rica. I'm sorry I can't make it, but I got to stick to this plan for this first race of the year, and next year I'm in for camp.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely the way to go. Stick to your plan. Make sure you're ready to fire for Oceanside. You got some big goals there, and I'm excited for you. It looks like all the fitness is going in the right direction. You're absolutely going to crush that sub-5.
Love. It just adds to the nerves of race day.
Yeah. Make sure you bring a credit card to the award ceremony, Josh, because you're going to need to pay for your world slot right there.
Yeah, that's a big ask right there, Fetty.
Awesome. Well, thank you as always, guys, for joining me here. We will be back again, but I hope all goes well with this week's training, and lots more fun ahead as the season kicks on. Have a great night, guys.
Have a good one.